Is Brittany Griner a man or a woman?
Her voice is crazy.
Is it? I haven't heard it.
It's a man's voice.
Be different and special for you.
I mean, one just
Holy sh**.
Never heard her talk.
hosting here in
this is
Phoenix,
crazy.
and
Y'all should let me out of prison in Russia because I was just smoking that.
Amazing. I mean, last night was
Motherfucking time.
Brittany Griner's a man. The WNBA has figured it out. They're getting rid of her, kicking her off the team, and they're going to start sex testing.
Somewhere on the internet right now, someone is absolutely convinced a WNBA legend is secretly a man, based entirely on a 15-second clip and a voice deeper than their car's subwoofer. It's one of the wildest, most persistent conspiracy theories in modern sports, and almost nobody arguing about it has ever watched an actual game. So, how did a decade of pure internet confusion turn one athlete into basketball's most bizarre rumor? Let's break down exactly how this madness happened.
Is Brittany Griner a man? I don't think so. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand where the speculation comes from. We are talking about 6'9", deep voice, no chest, strong-looking woman. That being said, people have to understand that biological women can have all of those characteristics, and vice versa. I've seen little thick men. I've seen it with my own eyes. You guys remember Timmy Thick? But anyways, here are the top 3 reasons I believe Brittany Griner is a woman. Reason number 1, look at these stats. 17 points, 7 rebounds.
Strange kind of math that plays out every time a truly exceptional human being steps onto a basketball court, and it rarely has anything to do with points, rebounds, or the final score. It has to do with what happens when the human body does something the internet wasn't prepared for.
I wish we had this when I was here. Boy, we would have blew the roof off this thing, but...
What? What the Bro, I thought bro name was Brittany. Brittany Oh, nah, bro. I don't know what this is, bro. I don't know who this is. This nigga was talented. This nigga was a hooper.
But at national championship up there at Denver, that's what's standing out to me, 40-0.
Somewhere between the highlight reel and the comment section, a fact starts to feel too big to believe. And once that happens, millions of people would rather invent a simpler explanation than accept the one sitting right in front of them.
We played a clip of Joy Reid talking to that Brittany Griner.
Did you believe that you were targeted deliberately, that people knew who you were, knew that you were landing on that flight, and deliberately targeted you?
I believe so, yes. I wholeheartedly believe that. It was the whole going through, doing the transfer, how I was singled out to come over when there's a flood of people walking through, not being scanned, things not getting searched. There was a tip, I don't know, they knew I was coming through.
Russia don't give up about what she's saying. Brittany Griner pled guilty. It's not that she didn't do anything and she tried to...
Then a decade. That exact pattern has followed one of the most dominant centers women's basketball has ever produced. And almost none of it has anything to do with her jump shot.
Family, have you ever opened Instagram just to get your mind off things and it drops you somewhere hella abrupt? Very unexpected. Well, that's how I felt today when I opened Instagram and saw this story about BG filing for divorce. Now, I'm somebody who reported about BG's time in Russia pretty intensely. I think I've calculated over 70 plus stories because it was always evolving. And we cared, right? We cared what was happening with BG. Yes. And Sherelle has...
Griner stands 6 feet 9 inches with a wingspan that looks like it was built in a lab for shot blocking and a voice that sits low enough to make strangers do a double take in an airport line. That on paper, that combination reads like a scouting report for a generational athlete. Online, it somehow got turned into a decade-long guessing game about whether she's even a woman at all. And understanding how that happened tells you far more about the internet than it does about her to start with the obvious part, the part that should end the conversation before it begins. Griner is a cisgender woman. She has been her entire life. She has competed exclusively in women's divisions from her early years in Houston, through her time at Baylor and into her long WNBA career. And there's no medical record, no verified report, no shred of credible documentation suggesting otherwise. Picture a 15-second clip of Griner laughing at a pool party or answering a post-game question in that unmistakable baritone dropped into a feed algorithm that has no idea who she is and doesn't particularly care. The clip gets served to someone who has never watched a WNBA game in his life, who has zero context for her career, her height, or the simple reality that human bodies exist on a much wider spectrum than most people assume. His first reaction isn't curiosity, it's disbelief, and disbelief performs beautifully on social media.
Griner banned for the WNBA for being a man. She was held in a male president Russia. I knew it. Well, this is what a lot of people are saying, and I'm here just to say that shit is made up. It's a little bit weird because they say they're taking action for something that she did in 2015 and 2019. Her held in a male penitentiary was false. In the holding area, she was next to males, and they for her pre-trial. And after the pre-trial, they moved her to a female prison in Russia.
A confused comment gets a laughing reaction. The laughing reaction gets more comments, and within a few hours a total. Stranger's 5-second gut reaction has calcified into something that looks to a casual scroller like established fact. What makes this particular myth so stubborn is that it borrows credibility from a completely separate conversation, one that actually deserves serious, good faith discussion. There is a real ongoing policy debate happening in sports right now about transgender athletes and competitive fairness, argued by scientists, athletes, and governing bonds who are wrestling with genuinely difficult questions. Griner has nothing to do with that debate. She's not trans, she's never claimed to be, and her eligibility has never been in question by anyone with actual authority over the sport. And if you actually zoom out to how elite sports work, the entire premise falls apart. Even faster. Every single athlete who has ever reached the very top of a physical sport got there partly because their body does something unusual. Michael Phelps has a wingspan several inches longer than his own height and joints that bend in ways most swimmers would envy.
So y'all both come at the same motherfucking time.
Quick question, Queen Latifah. When did you start doing interviews?
When's the last time you had your box munched?
Why is her voice so deep? Oh, nah.
People will be so loud whenever it comes to talking about trans people having an unfair biological advantage whenever they want to compete in the sports that align with their gender, but don't say anything about that nigga.
Elite marathoners often have unusually efficient lung capacity that regular training alone can't manufacture. In basketball specifically, height and reach are a curiosity. They're the entire currency of the sport, which means a woman who happens to be 6 feet 9 inches with the wingspan to match isn't an anomaly that needs explaining. She's exactly what several generations of basketball evolution were building toward. The joke, really, is that if Griner played in a beer league instead of the WNBA, nobody would think twice about her height. It's specifically her excellence that makes people suspicious, which says a great deal about what we've quietly decided elite women are allowed to look like. That's really the deeper current running underneath all of this, and it's older than social media by a long shot. Griner has talked openly about growing up with that same scrutiny long before she was famous at describing years of bullying as a kid specifically because of her height, her voice, and a build that made her stand out in every hallway she walked down. What's happening to her now, at scale, in comment sections, is essentially the same schoolyard cruelty she already survived once, just wearing a digital disguise and reaching a much bigger audience.
There's no way this is true, right?
That the WNBA knew Griner was biologically male and hid it.
What are we even talking about? This is a wild one. This is a wild one. I don't think it's true. Do I know for sure? No. Do I want to know for sure? Also no. Do you want to know for sure?
The people who pushed back against this narrative, and there are plenty of them, tend to make a pretty simple argument in return. They point out that there is no evidence here, none, and that the entire controversy exists because Griner's body doesn't match a narrow, culturally inherited idea of what femininity is supposed to look like. That standard has never been fair to begin with. It's the same standard that's been used for decades to police the appearance of powerful female athletes across nearly every sport, from swimmers with broad shoulders to sprinters with visible muscle definition, which brings us to the part of this story that's honestly bigger than basketball entirely. What's happened to Griner over the last decade isn't really a sports controversy at all. It's a case study in how modern digital culture handles anything it doesn't immediately recognize. We're living in an era where a viral clip can outrun a verified fact and where confusion gets rewarded, with engagement faster than clarity ever.
Do those numbers scream man in the WNBA to you? Chris Paul, who's like 36 now, would average 35 points in the WNBA minimum. And he's only 6 feet tall. Reason number 2, she does not look like a man. Say what you want about her body, that is not a man's face. No makeup, no surgery, no filter. How many biological men do you know look like straight up women in the face and vice versa? Not many, right? That's probably rarer than being a tall woman.